Good afternoon. Today, an indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump with felony violations of our national security laws, as well as participating in a conspiracy to obstruct justice. This indictment was voted by a grand jury of citizens in the Southern District of Florida, and I invite everyone to read it in full to understand the scope and the gravity of the crimes charged. The men and women of the United States intelligence community and our armed forces dedicate their lives to protecting our nation and its people. Our laws that protect national defense information are critical to the safety and security of the United States, and they must be enforced. Violations of those laws put our country at risk. Adherence to the rule of law is a bedrock principle of the Department of Justice, and our nation's commitment to the rule of law sets an example for the world. We have one set of laws in this country, and they apply to everyone. Applying those laws, collecting facts, that's what determines the outcome of an investigation. Nothing more and nothing less. The prosecutors in my office are among the most talented and experienced in the Department of Justice. They have investigated this case hewing to the highest ethical standards, and they will continue to do so as this case proceeds. It's very important for me to note that the defendants in this case must be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. To that end, my office will seek a speedy trial in this matter, consistent with the public interest and the rights of the accused. We very much look forward to presenting our case to a jury of citizens in the Southern District of Florida. In conclusion, I would like to thank the dedicated public servants of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, with whom my office is conducting this investigation and who work tirelessly every day upholding the rule of law in our country. I'm deeply proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with them. Thank you very much.
Why Florida, sir? Why did you decide?
And those are the words from Jack Smith today on C-SPAN, explaining the situation of the indictment being unsealed for one Donald J. Trump. What he said cannot be lost in this entire process. And by that statement, I mean what he said when a party is presumed to be innocent until proven guilty beyond the shadow of a doubt or reasonable confines of the law. It is clear to me and to anybody who watches this video that Jack Smith is simply a figure of justice in this entire procedure with what Trump likes to call the Mar-a-Lago boxes hoax. He is a figure of justice. He is not a hero. He does not wield a sword and shield, nor does he equip himself with a lance and mount a horse and act as a leader of cavalry charge. This man is simply in the pursuit of justice. And if justice comes in a way to find Donald J. Trump innocent of these charges, then that is exactly what will happen. It is he is a parallel to Durham and the way Durham was for the right. Jack Smith isn't a hero, nor should he be viewed as such. He is simply a man doing his job. It is the exact same confines that Durham operated under. Durham did what he set out to do and went places the facts and reality led him. The fact that it didn't turn out so great for Trumpers, the anti-Hillary Clinton people, the emails people, all of that, it didn't work out particularly well that he was a hero. And when he failed the second time he set out to do things back in February of 23, he said, essentially, I'm not a hero to the right. I don't understand why I got propped up as such. The same should be said of Jack Smith over here. He isn't a Democrat hero, a liberal hero, an anti-Trumper hero. He's a man doing a job, and he will go where the facts and reality dictate it should go. It should be noted that this case going to the Southern District of Florida is hitting, once again, Judge Eileen Cannon. Eileen Cannon is the one who delayed this in the beginning by trying to do the special master thing, and she was overruled. This is going to be an interesting scenario here. Either she continues to be a Trump sycophant and will obstruct and do the same attempts at things she tried to do the first time, or she will realize that she put her career on the line the first time, got backhanded until red in the face, and actually get out of the way and let justice happen the way that it should happen. It is of my personal opinion, and it should not necessarily be yours. If you agree with it, great. If you don't agree with it, also great. Things are not looking good for Trump in this indictment. There are 38 counts, which we will get to in a little bit. We're going to come back to this topic. But there are 38 counts against Trump. The evidence that has been unsealed against him in this case is mounting by the minute and by the hour, especially today, Friday, here in the beginning of June. It's not looking good for him. And as a not legal student, other than, beyond things of Law and Order SVU and all of that kind of stuff, just simply as somebody who considers himself an intelligent human being, seeing these pieces of evidence and facts come to light, they don't look particularly good. And if the reporting on this is true, this seems rather slam dunk-ish. Eileen Cannon, I do not think, will have the power or the gravitas or the weight to meddle in this case to the point where Trump becomes innocent of all of these charges. I don't think this looks good for him. But again, Jack Smith will take this, the Department of Justice will take this wherever the path leads, be it pro-Trump or anti-Trump. Before we come back to that topic, there is a topic that I do need to talk about currently, as this is extremely upsetting to see this going down. So, for those who follow golf, in the world of golf, there have been two entities for some time. The PGA Tour and Live Golf, which is a Saudi-funded upstart, has come out over the past few years. You may know the term Live Golf because Trump, as he was getting pushed further and further out by the PGA Tour, where the PGA Tour has routinely said they will not hold their events at his courses, Trump went and involved himself with Live Golf and had several of Live Golf's tournaments at his locations. You may remember some of the pictures of like Getz and MTG and Tucker being at one of them. Yeah, that's Live Golf. You may also know of Jared Kushner's involvement with the Saudis. And now, of course, the reporting of Trump giving up secrets to the Saudis. It all kind of begins to coalesce over here. The PGA Tour holds tournaments nearly every weekend, mostly in the United States, but also in other countries in North America, Europe, and Asia. The tour has been home to practically every male golfer you can name: Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, Arnold Palmer, and so on. Live Golf began in 2021 when former PGA Tour player Greg Norman as its commissioner. Oh, that's really sad. I think Greg Norman was the shark. And billions of dollars backing from a Saudi sovereign wealth fund. By the way, the WWE faced such intense scrutiny for dealing with the Saudis also. So this is not a one-off thing. This anti-Saudi sentiment for American sports has been going on for some time now. Which is known as a public investment fund. Live lured several PGA Tour players, including major champions like Phil Mickelson, Brooks Koepka, with massive purses and guaranteed payouts that far surpassed what they can earn on an established circuit. Live promised a sharp break from golf's fusty traditionalism, starting with the name, which was pronounced and rhymes with give, but it's actually the Roman numeral for 54, the number of holes played in each tournament. Haha, oh boy, that's witty. Obviously, there's been acrimony. PGA had pushed off merging or doing anything with Live for some time, and now to hear them maybe getting involved in it, it brings up the phrase blood money again, which was used against the WWE and Vince McMahon when he was dealing with the Saudis. Yasir Al-Rumayyan left, who was the governor of the Public Investment Fund and who oversees Live, would chair the board of the new entity. Former President Donald J. Trump in the middle has hosted Live tournaments on his courses, and of course that's one of his sons right there. It seems so. The PGA Tour and Live announced on Tuesday of the creation of a new entity that would combine their assets as well as those of the DP World Tour and radically change golf's governance. PGA would remain not-profit and would retain full control how they're played, but all of the commercial businesses and rights and extremely lucrative rights to televise its tournaments would go over to the new yet unnamed for-profit entity that is currently being called NewCo. So, there is a bit of a symbiotic relationship forming over here, and immediately the United States government has begun to look into removing their not-for-profit tax-exempt status. I do not call that revenge. I call that appropriate because it looks like they will begin to shade over towards for-profit. So, at least congratulations to the U.S. for that. I am thoroughly disgusted in hearing of this news. This is deeply saddening to see the PGA and Live begin to merge, especially with Live's association to Trump, simply because the PGA has rebuffed Trump several times, and the conspiracy theory yarns on the chalkboard are beginning to be drawn very clearly now when we hear about Kushner and his extremely lucrative deal that he did with the Saudis, and the rumors that Trump gave up some classified information to the Saudis, and now the golf tour, being Live, that he's backed, beginning to overtake the PGA and merge with them. This bears looking into for a long time, and I hope this partnership gets extremely dissolved. This is a very disconcerting thing over here. Very briefly, before we get on to other topics, apparently it seems that Cracker Barrel has quote-unquote gone woke, and now conservatives are upset. So way back in the 90s, a girlfriend of mine happened to say that she would never eat a Cracker Barrel. And I said, why? One of the other stances that she held was that she would never get gas at Exxon. And that was understandable. That was very visible at the time. Exxon had the Valdez debacle. This is a well-known and highly studied PR case, like the Tylenol with cyanide, the Delta plane crashes, glass in Pepsi at the time, which is why Crystal Pepsi took off. It's because you can see that there was no glass. I think that was actually glass in Snapple tea, though, not Pepsi. I forget. It's been a while. But at least Exxon was a well-known PR case. I didn't know at the time that Cracker Barrel was quite anti-gay. And I wasn't even really too sure if I quite believed her at the time. And she's like, no, yeah, it's absolutely true. They're a private company. They can do what they want. They don't have to give in. They're not public. It turns out after all this time that, yeah, I really believe it. It seems to be true. But now, apparently, Cracker Barrel has gone, quote unquote, woke. And this, and I think it was this picture here of the rainbow slats on the rocking chairs. We are excited to celebrate Pride Month with our employees and guests. Everyone is always welcome at our table. Speaking of Pride, in case you don't know, Pat Roberts has died. I'm just going to leave that right there and move on. Company based in Lebanon, Tennessee, a staple of South and suburban America. Also, by the way, trivia fact, known for usually being right off highways. Known for their quirky gift shops, Peg Solitaire game. I definitely remember that. And Stick to Your Ribs Fair has been celebrating Pride and pushing rainbow-themed products for the last few years. Many people still remember the company's intolerant past, which discriminated against LGBTQ in the early 90s. Well, looks like she was 100% correct the whole time. Very interesting. And fired several gay workers. Yeah, so, and now, of course, you have conservatives saying, I take no pleasure reporting that Cracker Barrel has fallen. This isn't a line in a war. This isn't the Battle of the Bulge. And I'm sorry if that is a bad pun for some of what had been happening with Target and everything. But yeah, a once family establishment is caved to the mob. There is no mob. There is no line. Nobody has fallen. This is reality. And to be anti these things is it's not a popular opinion at this point. It is a continued stance against that is not going to go well, and people are going to learn. More and more of these companies have been doing this for years. The Chick-fil-A issue, that person had been put in the DEI position 3 years ago. His LinkedIn profile did not change since 2 years ago. And the fact that conservatives, like just the other week, were realizing, oh, wait a minute, Chick-fil-A has gone woke, blah, blah, blah. They think it just happened. It had happened years ago. Just somebody somehow made it viral, and it went crazy. So, chalk up reported anti-gay Cracker Barrel as now being pro-LGBTQ, pro-pride. Conservatives would do well to realize just how many of their beloved establishments and icons are actually pro-pride, including Fox, who has a pride celebration in Los Angeles, California. Before we get back to Trump, things are not looking good for Pedo Getz again. Trumper Matt Getz is hit with devastating news as reporters reveal that the House Ethics Committee reopened its investigation into the allegations that Getz had inappropriate relationships with a 17-year-old and paid to have her travel with him, causing sex trafficking laws to come into play. You may remember this as being a big story about a year and a half ago. They got his friend. It seemed like the friend was going to flip. Did seem to flip, and then things just disappeared. Perhaps it was a case of too many irons in the fire, and now that some of the Trump ones are sorting out, they're going back and reopening his now that they have the time for it. The committee will investigate whether Getz engaged in misconduct, drug use, and shared inappropriate images or videos on the House floor, misused state identification records, converted campaign funds for personal use, accepted a bribe, improper gratuity, impermissible gifts, violation of House rules, law, and other standards of conduct, and used Venmo. Let's not forget that. They haven't decided if they'll launch a special investigative subcommittee, but it says that if it does, the committee will announce it to the public and make the results of the investigation public. So, Butthead of Beavis and Butthead here is now back in the hot tub, boiling like a lobster that you picked out at the beginning of your dinner. I'm definitely all for that one. Back to what's going on with Trump. What we heard at the top of the video, let's get into that. 38 counts were unsealed against him. 31 willful retentions of national security information. 1 conspiracy to obstruct justice, and that must include things like, hey, let's flood the IT room so that the records of moving our boxes isn't on video. Oh, you mean the flooding didn't hurt the data? Oh, shit. So, yeah, that's what that entails. Imagine trying to flood the proof that you were moving boxes ahead of NARA and then failing at it. Good job, guys. Really good. Withholding a document or record, corruptly concealing a document or record, concealing a document in a federal investigation, scheme to conceal, false statements and representations. 2 of them for that one. I believe that would be like, I gave them all back. I gave them all back. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. I gave them all back. Look at my lawyers. My lawyers, what do you say? He gave them all back. Okay, well, now the lawyers are in trouble too because you lied on behalf of a liar. So those are the 38 counts. There is now news that somebody, and we'll see this in a little bit, a female, actually, I think that will be a little bit later. But here, according to the Palmer report, with the indictment being unsealed, part of what was stolen were nuclear secrets, classified military secrets with multiple people, including somebody, this is what him sharing. He shared military secrets with multiple people, including someone from his fundraising PAC. He's caught on tape, and we've known about this for a few days, saying that he hadn't declassified it before leaving. People have said that he knew the process. He did use it sometimes, but his telekinetic powers to declassify everything that he touched doesn't really come into play. And we have this statement here that in July of 21, the Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster, New Jersey, where Ivana is buried, raise your eyebrow at that, during an audio recorded meeting with a writer and publisher, 2 members of his staff, none of whom possessed proper security clearance, Trump showed and described a plan of attack that Trump said he was had prepared for him by the Department of Defense and a senior military official. Trump told the individuals that this plan was highly confidential and secret. Trump also admitted, I could have declassified it. Now I can't, meaning I'm not the president anymore, but you know, this is still a secret. That is on audio. The same way it's on audio that he said he could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and not lose a vote. And the Jeb Bush tapes, the Access Hollywood tapes. He incriminates himself like the day is long. How this man could have been called Teflon Don for decades amazes me, other than the fact that he just worked in a much smaller scale and was probably allowed to use his power and influence to buy people off, but he was never smart enough to cover his tracks properly. Going and becoming the president of the United States, things got out of control for him because he was a small fish in a much bigger pond, and he could not shore up and spackle all the holes of his Swiss cheese wall, and he just did himself in. Becoming president was probably the worst thing Donald Trump could have ever done for his life. It is coming back to haunt him. If he had stayed smaller scale, maybe he could have gotten away with this crap a little bit longer. But he shoved himself into the limelight. Now he's paying the price. In August or September 21, at the Bedminster Club, Trump showed a representative of his PAC, who did not possess security clearance, a classified map related to the military operation that he was talking about, and told the representative he should not be showing it to the rep, and the rep should not get that close. So he knew what he was doing was wrong. He did it anyway. Walt Nauta, or Nauta, found several boxes had fallen and their contents spilled onto the floor of a storage room, including a doc that said secret release only to the USA and Five Eyes. We'll talk about that in a moment. Nauta texted a Trump employee, "I opened the door and found this and attached 2 photos of the spill." I almost wonder if that is true, or he went peeking, saw that there was stuff in there, and used the excuse of, oh, it fell and it was open. It's sort of like the "did you read my diary" thing. And you say, no, I didn't read your diary. You left it on the bed and it was open. And like the page was there or was unlocked, or you didn't close your computer and I didn't need to use a password to get into it. It was just right up there on your screen. It sounds like the BS excuse you make to say something became available that was actually secretive and you went for it. You just made up a plausible excuse for why you were reading it. Regardless of whether this was a spill or he went poking, he said, "I opened the door and found this and attached 2 photos of the spill." The employee said, oh no. "I'm sorry, POTUS had my phone. One of the photos showed visible classified information, and this is Trump's unlawful retention of this document is part of count 8. If you don't know what Five Eyes is, it is down here somewhere. It refers to a conglomeration of 5 countries that share intelligence. It is an alliance of intelligence sharing of Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, and the United States. These countries, as parties to the multilateral UK-USA agreement, a treaty for the joint cooperation in signals intelligence. Informally, Five Eyes can refer to the group of intelligence agencies in these countries. So, highly classified document just spilled on the floor for this valet to see. By the way, this guy is also being indicted with Trump. Trump aide Walt Nauta indicted in the classified documents case. So, yeah, he's not getting a get-out-of-jail-free card. And another stunning moment with this guy. On May 30th of 2022, a Trump family member texted Nauta, "Good afternoon, Walt. Happy Memorial Day. You will find out this person is female in just a moment, so thoughts are maybe they don't think it's Melania. It could be Ivanka, Kimberly Guilfoyle." It's been going crazy as to the predictions on this, but it's somebody who is a Trump family member that is female. They said, "Happy Memorial Day. I saw you put boxes in the POTUS room. Just FYI, I will tell him this as well. Not sure how many he wants to take on Friday on the plane. We will not have room for them. Plane will be full of luggage. Thank you." Nauta replied back, "Good afternoon, ma'am." Smiley face. "Thank you so much. I think he wanted to pick from them. I don't imagine him wanting to take the boxes. He told me to put them in the room and that he was going to talk to you about them." And how many cartons you're seeing being transported with Trump from Mar-a-Lago, Florida to Bedminster, New Jersey. So this is what we've got going for the News Blast today, June 9th, here on this Friday, the beginning of June. These are the news stories we're dealing with. Trump's news story does not look particularly good. I don't really see how he gets out of this, and I don't see how people can continue to support him no matter how much they've supported him for the past stuff. There is audio of this man admitting he knows the process for declassifying. he was showing somebody a piece of paper that was not declassified, admits that it isn't, and says, I probably shouldn't be showing you this, but here it is anyway. That is, you can't defend that. That is indefensible at that point. You cannot compare it to Pence. You cannot compare it to Biden. There is no comparison to anything else. And even if there was a apple-to-apple comparison, it doesn't change the fact that he did it. He's basically admitting it. There is no way out of this. There is no mental wrangling you can do to at least that particular document, that moment in time. It is indefensible what he was doing. It is like somebody showing you their genitalia in public as a flasher and saying, I probably shouldn't do this, but here it is, and then flashing them and then later getting arrested for it, and that person having a phone and recording the whole interaction and saying he knew flashing me was probably a no-no. He flashed me anyway. Take him away, judge. So there we go, folks. This is the Political Napalm signing off. Have a great weekend.